Hey everyone, so today I'm wanting to talk to you about a Most Haunted box set. This is Most Haunted the Complete Series 4. Now I'm going to predict about a year and a half ago I did a video about Most Haunted and I got a lot of you guys saying that you really liked it. So I thought I'm going to start reviewing the individual series and I never kind of really got around to that. At the time I had 1, 2, 3 and half of 6. Now I have those plus 4 and I think 5 is in the post. I ordered either 5 or 7 last week, I can't remember, because I was going to order both but I only ordered 1. But anyway, so I thought I'd take you through the series and let you know my thoughts, and I've got a scrappy bit of paper with loads of scribblings because I had a lot of thoughts on the episodes but I tried to narrow it down. And yeah, so before I get into it, basically a brief conclusion of what I thought. Series 4 was okay, yeah, it was really good. There were a few episodes which were a bit, really, is this meant to be entertaining? But most of it was good. So the DVD box set design itself is absolutely gorgeous. This is the redesign, because if you've got the original like sort of boxes, they're kind of huge. But this is the new sort of slightly more elegant design. I really love the attention to detail it has on there. And I really do like it, yeah. So on the back you do have a brief overview of the locations. But when you open it up, you'll actually find that you have a bit about the location and where it actually is, rather than just the name of it. Then this just folds out like so, and you've got 2 discs there, and then discs underneath. Or there should be one in there, I kind of left it in my DVD player last night. Whoops. Right, so the first one is Owlpen Manor in Gloucestershire. First of all, I thought this sounds like a really good thing, just because I like the word Owlpen Manor. I just really like that name. And I have to say, for an opening episode to a series, it was really, really good. There wasn't that much in the way of activity going on, apart from, I'd say, Derek's possessions, or Derek's channeling, I should say. I think it was really quite intense, but everything else I thought was a bit dragging on a bit. But the bits that were good in this episode were really, really good. So it really counteracted all the sort of slightly dull bits. The history side of it I really did like, so I think in all it was a really good opening episode. After that we have Craig-y-Nos in Wales. A really, really beautiful building, really beautiful episode. I think it's probably one of my favourites from the series. Really just a really emotional episode. I wasn't scared. There wasn't really the fear factor in this episode for me, whereas with some of the other ones I'm sitting going, I'm scared. Literally. But this one I think was just more sentimental and emotional and beautiful, and a really quite sorrowful journey rather than some of the others. So it gives it quite a mixed atmosphere throughout the series. The third one we have is Jamaica Inn in Bodmin Moor. Oh my goodness, this is probably one of my all-time favourite Most Haunted episodes. And Jamaica Inn was a coaching inn donkeys ago, and I always find the coaching ones and the coaching hotels ones really, really quite exciting because they have such history and such a past, and they're always so enthralling. This one was exciting, it was scary, it was intriguing, you know, the history behind it was so fascinating. The vigils and the little seances and things I thought were absolutely fantastic. I really loved every aspect of this. I've got the Jamaica Inn book in my Amazon wishlist. I'm going to buy that once I've read the books I'm reading just now. And I will go down to Bodmin Moor to visit Jamaica Inn after seeing this. I definitely will be going. Don't know when, but I will be, because it looks just so brilliant. And they also have a website, which I remember. I will link the Jamaica Inn website in the below bar, so you can go and check that out. There's some fascinating stuff on there. Number 4 is Croxteth Hall in Liverpool, which I imagine would have been nice for Derek to go back to Liverpool. This one was huge. The building here was massive. I was like, they're never going to cover all that ground. And of course they don't. Sometimes they get buildings and locations which are too big to cover in 24 hours. But this building was beautiful. The only thing is I didn't think the episode itself was that gripping. The story of Charlotte the maid that Derek picked up on, I thought was fascinating. I really liked that aspect of it, and I wanted to know more about that. The plank of wood that fell. Oddly, at the moment I said that, something in my house just fell. Creepy. The plank of wood that fell on Carl, was it? Was it Carl the wood fell on? I think it was. Let's say it was, but I could be wrong. Anyway, the plank of wood that fell I thought was quite intense, but there are logic explanations for that. I didn't think much else happened though. So I would watch it just for the history, and it is kind of, the kitchen area was a bit like, creepy. But the rest of it, I just thought there wasn't much activity, but it was still a really enjoyable episode, so that was fine. Number 5 is the Manor House in County Durham. Now, I live quite close to County Durham, so I'm kind of keen to go and visit. And this one was really quite a good episode. To start off with, I was like, don't really know what to think of this. I hadn't really heard much about the Manor House before. I hadn't ever heard of it, really. Quick Google search prior, wasn't that interested. But then it just got really interesting. So we found out that it was an orphanage. That opens it up to poltergeist activity. And that to me is like brilliant. I'm still trying to get my head around the concept of poltergeists, because some sources say it's one, some say it's another. I'm still battling with those thoughts. But Yvette was terrified. You have the bits where Yvette was just absolutely so shaken and so scared. And it was then that I realised that these, Derek aside, that the Most Haunted team is just technically a bunch of friends going ghost hunting. There's no... I'm not going to say there's no professionalism about them, because they're doing it as professionally as they can. But they haven't, you know what I'm trying to say? I can't get my head around it. But they're just a bunch of TV people looking for ghosts. You know what I mean? Obviously by series 14 they're downright professional as hell. But they're the most famous ghost hunters in Britain probably. But you know what I mean? So it was kind of upsetting to see Yvette as scared as that, but it also made really good television. When the bit where Derek threw the light when he was channeling, I thought that was kind of intense and a little bit frightening. If I was in the room with him, I would have probably lashed out and hit him, to be honest. Not hitting Derek, but hitting the spirit he was channeling, but it probably would have hurt Derek in the long run. The bit where the television turned on by itself, I thought was one of the most active rooms in all of the places they've been in Series 4. Very unexpected. Stuart, you could see, was completely freaking out and completely shaken by that. And again, felt sorry for him, but it was brilliant, brilliant television. So, you know. Number 6 is the Hellfire Caves in West Wycombe. Wow, absolutely lovely episode. Definitely fantastic. But I would not go. They did scare me to a point where I definitely would not go in those caves. You can see they're claustrophobic, they go on for miles. Oh, definitely, no. Would I go in broad daylight? Possibly, but I wouldn't go there of an evening, no. I wouldn't. It was really informative, the history behind it was really, really well delivered. I enjoyed that part. The reenactment dummies that were positioned around the caves gave me the creeps. I was like, yeah, they're disgusting. Richard Felix at this point was fantastic. This was the first time in this series that I thought Richard is just the best goddamn historian ever. Now, I've thought that for about 7 years because, when I first started watching Most Haunted, he was the historian on the show, obviously. And, yeah. Obviously, there wasn't really much activity going on in the caves, but it was the most naturally spooky, which added to the excitement. So, good episode, but not one with the most activity. Number 7, if I can turn over, is Many King's Close in Edinburgh. Favourite episode out of the entire series. After watching this, I thought, I'm going up to Edinburgh and I'm going to visit Many King's Close. I absolutely am. I can't wait. I'm going to hope to go by the end of the year. Many King's Close was just sort of like an underground street, if you like. And in the 1600s, it was quarantined because of the plague, and obviously people in there suffered and died from the plague. So there's hundreds of people in there who could be grounded or who could just come back in visitation, who died there during the plague, may have some evilness about them, and there was an awful lot of history. When Derek picked up on Major Thomas Weir, I was like, this is kind of exciting, really quite interesting, and I wanted to go and Google that name and see what I could find. I found at this point the Most Haunted team kind of liked to contradict Derek. Now, Derek stuck around for another 2 series after this, so they weren't fed up with him yet. But I just thought everything he said they'd contradict, which I thought was kind of a downer for the show, really. Because if people thought it was fake, if they started to think that it was all a load of rubbish, they might just stop watching, which they did. But, never mind. They brought in psychic Derek Ogilvie. I thought he was really brilliant. He's probably, Derek Acorah aside, Derek Ogilvie I thought was one of the most interesting psychics ever, and he had the best accent as well. But he was just such a really interesting person, so I'd like to see more of him generally in everyday life, so I'm going to see if he's doing any sort of, I don't know, but I'd like to see him, that'd be cool. The staircase, like nobody went down into like a cellar or something. I thought that is the perfect opportunity for you guys to go down there and catch something brilliant, and nobody went down there. I wouldn't go down. I would not go down myself, but you know, Carl's quite brave. He does a lot of stuff. Somebody should have went down there, or at least poked the camera down there to see what was going on. That would have been brilliant. I think that was the staircase that was inside Chesney's room, I think it was, yeah. Then you have Annie's room, the little girl's room, who apparently when Derek picked up on her was called Mary. I don't know. That would have been kind of an emotional room, I imagine, because she had all the toys and things. It would have been really quite sad, yeah. But yeah, just the level of contradiction in what Derek was saying in this episode was barbaric. It was insane. It really was. Right, moving on, flipping my page of notes over because it's, yeah, I had a lot of them. I had to sit and narrow them down. I was like, I can't go on and on. I mean, this video is going to be quite long as it is. My apologies for that. Number 8 is the Wellington Hotel in North Cornwall. I just didn't like it. Did not like this episode at all. I didn't think there was anything gripping about it. I didn't think the history behind it was that exciting. The whole episode was flat. There was very little energy. The bit in the woods was alright. Ian Lawman's seance was quite good. But the rest of it I just thought, no. Give it a watch just because you can't watch the whole of it and then not watch one episode. But, yeah, give it a watch, but it's not that exciting. So just be pre-warned. Number 9 is the Chatham Dockyards in Kent. Again, not too bad. I found this one to be quite slow progressing. The first, say, 15 minutes out of the 45 minutes was a bit dire. But after that, it got really alright. It was really quite emotional when you had the story of the woman hanging herself, which I thought was really quite emotional and quite sad. Yeah, I felt quite sorry for her. Derek's channeling was really good. He had 3 channels in this. There was Lizzie, who was quite a foul-mouthed bitch. And then there was Barney, who was the 9-year-old. And then there was somebody else, can't remember who. I thought Lizzie was really quite fantastic. They did say in this episode that apparently Derek's channeling was getting more and more. I'm thinking, for goodness sake, you're bringing in a psychic to try and do something, and then you go and tell him that he's doing too much. Make up your bloody mind. But no, really, really good episode once you got into it. So just, stick with it for the first couple of minutes. It does get better. Number 10 is the Guildhall in Leicestershire. Fascinating building, I think. The history behind it was really interesting. I probably enjoyed the history behind it more than I enjoyed the actual vigils and the hunting part of it, if you like. The story of the black cat on the stairs I would have liked to have known more about. Obviously, for a non-cat fanatic, the ghost of a cat's not going to be that scary. But, yeah. I think, to start off with, once they started to get into the actual, when they turned off the lights and put on the night vision, I kind of started to lose concentration a bit. There wasn't enough to keep me hooked in. I was like watching it, then I went and did something else. Like while watching it, I didn't ever leave the screen because I'm not that daft. I'd miss something insane if I did that. But like I was like writing stuff, and it didn't have my full attention because it just couldn't get my full attention. The scenes with the cells I found interesting. They were really good. Probably the best part of the episode. It was interesting to bring David Wells in there just to give a different take on it, but not the best episode. Number 11 there is the Manor House restaurant in West Bromwich. Again, interesting history. I thought the history of the building really, really good. I mean, I'm a history nut, so I always love those bits, but sometimes I prefer them to the actual paranormal side. But no, it was an alright episode. I think the seance they did was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. And Stuart and Carl got a lot of really good activity as well. The rest of the things they did was alright, worth a watch. Nothing overly exciting, nothing that made me go, brilliant, look at that. But I think Stuart and Carl did a lot. I always find that Stuart has the best scenes. There's just something about him which is really, really cool. I really like him. But yeah, the seance was alright, and Stuart and Carl got some good stuff, so that was nice. Then we have number 12 is the Greengate Brewery in Middleton. Now obviously they hadn't been to a brewery before, as pointed out. And they did point out at the beginning that there was going to be a lot of new sounds, a lot of new smells, a lot of new things they were going to get used to because it was a different kind of environment they were in. But at the same time, that automatically opens up the fear factor because they do not know what to expect. So there was a lot of things that could potentially have happened. you know, we had activity really early on. There was things being thrown. Yvette was Yvette was broken down in tears. You could tell that she was terrified for her life, and I did feel sorry for her, but I thought I would give money to be in that situation with a TV camera pointing at me. You know, I'd be like, come on, spirits, throw things at me, there is a camera at me, that is fine. I would accept that, but I would probably run away in the opposite direction in the actual situation. You had the moving cabinet, which, as pointed out, the crew were all around the cabinet. There could be a lot of logical explanations for that. What do I think? I think there is probably a logical explanation, but it was quite exciting to see this cabinet just go like that, completely brilliant, loved it. Stuart got the best activity again with the moving barrels. This was the most terrifying thing, because I had headphones in, I was listening to it through headphones, so all the sounds were amplified. And all I heard, well, I was watching it, but like all you could hear was all the barrel. It doesn't help that my mother was drying her hair in the next room, so I could kind of hear a hairdryer as well. All I could hear was the constant noise of the barrels, and Stuart, like, you know, trying to work out what it was, and it was just constantly in my head. And do you know when you're just kind of so scared that you just want to close your eyes and just scream as loud as you can in fear? That was the first time in my life I've ever felt like that while watching Most Haunted. So that was kind of, yeah, it was kind of a little bit creepy. But yeah, I think for a closing episode of the series, I thought that one was a really, really good one, and definitely worth a watch. Now, as well as those 12 episodes, you also have what the class does on the back. 12 extra episodes. Those extra episodes are about half the length of the actual episodes, and they're sort of like not like a behind the scenes thing, but like the crew talk about their expectations before going into the building and how they felt once they came out and that sort of thing. So it is quite insightful. I kind of paid only half attention to the episodes I didn't like, but for example, the Jamaica Inn one, the Craig-y-Nos one, the Mary King's Close, Hellfire Caves, those ones were really quite interesting to watch. So they are definitely worth the watch. They don't take long to get through. Really, really good. Now, I actually watched most of this yesterday. I watched 6 episodes yesterday, which probably would have equated over to 6 hours actually, because the episodes are 45 minutes, and then you have the extras, which are about half the length. So I did watch quite a lot of Most Haunted yesterday. But yeah, this one is brilliant. Love it. As you can see there, I have to point out before somebody starts screaming at me, this is a 15. The language is strong. It is quite scary at some parts, so it is a 15. Please bear that in mind. I paid about £5 for this on eBay. I think this one was a second-hand copy, but I mean, it's not, you know, it's not exactly in bad condition. All the discs work. It's fine. So I don't have a problem with buying a second-hand copy. Yeah, if you can get hold of it, definitely do. I mean, it's all over Amazon, it's all over eBay, but some of the Most Haunted box sets are a bit pricey. So just bear in mind that it may cost a bit depending on who's selling it at the time you want it. But yeah, go and check it out. I will be doing the rest of the series reviews once my DVD arrives. The next one, it should be here today. I will watch that. Sorry, my throat dying. Once I watch that, I will review that one, but that'll probably take me about 2 or 3 weeks to get through, because I've got a lot of other things to do during that time. But I will get around to doing it. But please feel free to leave comments, let me know your favourite thoughts from the series if you've seen it or anything else. That's it for just now, so I'll see you all next time. Bye!